I opened my first barbershop at the age of 23 after making $470,000 my first 35 months into barbering. This is my barbershop checklist to help you find a great shop to work in. And even if you want to open up a barbershop in the future, you want to make sure that your shop checks every single box that I'm going to be going over in this video. So I actually have 7 main points that we're going to go over in this video, and I think you're going to be really surprised at number 3 and at number 6, because these are 2 big ones that a lot of barbers don't consider when it comes to actually choosing a great barbershop to work in. So let's go over these points. So my first point is going to be when it actually comes to location. Now I'm going to break down what I mean by demo, anchor, and street. So the first thing when it comes to location is the demographics of the actual area that you're in. So you can actually go up on websites like the census and you can find out, okay, what's the population of the area? What's the household income of the area? What is the crime rate of the area? How highly rated are the schools that are in that area? Because the higher ranked that the schools are, that's how you know that families that really appreciate education and make more money are gonna be in the area. And you wanna know all of these things. For example, when I was searching up the demographics for this barbershop that I opened, I knew that the population was over 100,000 and the household income was $100,000 as well. Those are things that you want to actually know when it comes to choosing a location for your barbershop. Now there's a bunch of other things that matter as well, but you can move so much further by just being in a great location surrounded by a lot of people, and by people that make some more money will be even better. Now that's important because if you're choosing from 2 cities, you want to actually go and weigh them, apples to apples, and see which one is going to work better for you long term when it comes to choosing a barbershop. So the next one is anchor, right? So when it comes to anchor in terms of location, what do I mean by that? I mean that whenever you're looking at, let's say a plaza, usually the barbershop, you want it to be in a plaza. Now, why is that? Well, because you're gonna have other businesses in the plaza that are generating traffic as well, and they'll be able to see your barbershop if it's placed correctly. So for example, in this current plaza that I'm in right now, there's a LA Fitness and there's a Publix, there's a Bell's, there's a Chipotle. These are stores that have huge marketing budgets and are gonna bring a lot of foot traffic into the plaza. My barbershop will be able to benefit off of that because those businesses are actually the ones spending the money to bring the people in the plaza, but then they'll know that my barbershop now exists. So now I can leverage their marketing budgets to help bring clients into my door just by being in the right plaza. So you wanna look for these big box stores or businesses that are gonna generate a lot of walk-in traffic. Now, what do I mean by street? Well, when I'm talking about street, I'm talking about if you're on a busy street, can the cars that are passing on a busy street actually see you? Now this is twofold because one, they may be able to just see the barbershop and you're gonna get walk-in traffic just from people knowing that there's a barbershop in the area, just from people passing down on a busier road and being able to see it. Also, a big way that we've been able to get clients and walk-in traffic is by going out and holding a sign. Let me show you the sign. So like for example, what we'll do is we'll go on the street and actually hold this sign, and we'll be able to get clients to come in just by seeing this sign because we're off of a busy street. Now think about how hard it would be if you didn't take any of these into account. You would make sure that you are in a location that has horrible demographics. You have 2 people in your town and they make $10,000 a year each. That's not a town that you want to be in. Or if you're in a plaza that's dead, or there's no anchor stores where you have to generate all the traffic just by yourself. Or if you're ducked off like in this kind of weird like alleyway or something where nobody can really find you guys, even if they wanted to, just because where your actual barbershop is placed, people off of the street can't see it. All these things just work in your favor, and that's why you want to take them into account when it comes to actually going and searching for a barbershop to work in. So my next point is going to be about online presence. Now you want to know what's the online presence of the barbershop that you're about to start working in. So first off, like, do they even have a website? Is that something that they're interested in or knowledgeable about? Because last time I checked, every big business has a website, right? So that people can actually go and visit their website and try to get an appointment with them. Because if it's a walk-in only barbershop, that's not a barbershop that you would want to be in, because it would be super, super hard to actually go ahead and build your demand when you're just taking walk-ins. So if they have a website, if they have some type of scheduler, that's a great sign, because for me, it's a huge flag if a barbershop that I'm about to work in doesn't take appointments. That's huge when it comes to building your demand and eventually being able to raise your prices as a barber. Now, my next point is like, what does their organic online presence look like? Now, this is more when it comes to their Google or just their social medias, right? Like Facebook and like Instagram. What is their actual organic online presence without any type of paid ads and stuff like that? And also, what do their reviews look like? Now, reviews is gonna tell you two things. One, do they know the power of Google reviews and how that can also help your barbershop? Now, don't get me wrong, Google isn't the main thing, but it's such low-hanging fruit, you wanna look at it. Also, from the reviews that they have, you'll be able to see some other things that matter, like what's the culture of the barbershop? What's the professionality in the barbershop? Because if there's a lot of clients that are leaving this barbershop unsatisfied, that would be a red flag that you would want to find out before going and working in that shop, because you might find it out on your own and you want to avoid that at all costs, right? So what does their organic online presence look like? This is where you're going and you're starting to almost interview the barbershop and look online. Remember, we wanted to see what was their physical presence look like with their location, but now you want to find out what does their online presence look like as well. Now, paid, when it comes to their online presence, do they do any ads? Are they running any ads for the barbershop, whether it's on social media or whether it is for something like even Google? Are they running ads at all? I'm not saying if they don't do these things that you shouldn't be in the shop, but I'm saying you want to be aware if they are doing them, if they have any interest in doing them. And the reason why is because essentially you're trying to get as much information to make the best decision possible, because ultimately what you're going to do is sit down and compare these different barbershops and see apples to apples which one's going to be better for your long-term growth in your career. So you just want to look at these things. Some of these things are deal breakers and some of them aren't. Being able to take appointments, that is a deal breaker. Versus like if they're not running paid ads, that's okay. Right? But I would still want to know what's their organic online presence and what do their reviews look like as well, because that's going to also tell me about the client experience. Now, let's go on to my next point. So the next checkbox that you want to look at when it actually comes to finding the right barbershop is marketing freedom. This is one of those big points that you really want to look at, and not a lot of people think about it when it comes to actually starting inside of a barbershop. So when it comes to marketing freedom, are they okay with you supporting the shop in whatever marketing they're already doing? Sometimes we have people inside of the mentorship where we try to teach them these different marketing strategies to support the barbershop that they're in, to get the whole barbershop busy. They're like, no, you can't do that. I won't allow you to do that, to support us in that way. You want to know what's that like. Sometimes these barbershop owners will just hire a third-party company to do some of their marketing, and they won't really know if it's working or if it's not working, but they won't let you go ahead and check it out either. You want to know these type of things. Is the barbershop okay with you supporting them, whether it's getting Google reviews or managing the Google page or running ads for the shop or passing out certain business cards on behalf of the barbershop or posting up flyers or advertising content? Whatever that is, you want to make sure that they're okay with you supporting the shop in marketing the barbershop. And a reason why this is so big is because if you're in a shop where maybe their online presence isn't on point and their marketing might not be super on point, but yet they're not okay with you supporting the shop, or they're not okay with you promoting yourself and putting all these restrictions on you where you don't have marketing freedom, then it really becomes harder for you to actually build your clientele, because they won't allow you to support them in what they're doing, but they also have so many restrictions on what you are able to do. And that's why solo promotion is big as well. Now, me, I'm a fan of doing both. I want the shop to grow, but I also want to grow as well because I'm an ambitious barber and I have goals that I want to achieve. So, for example, can I run ads for myself? Is that cool? Can I do my first haircut free, whether it's a referral program that I'm doing, like bring me 2 clients and your next haircut's free? Or is it cool with me actually having that as a promotion where I'll cut your hair for the first time for free to earn your business so you can come back as well? Is that something that they're cool with? Or are they cool with me bringing a camera into the barbershop with a tripod and with mics and me filming content? I want to know if I have the marketing freedom inside the shop to get myself busier. Sometimes we'll have barbers that, we tell them, hey, go ahead and do the first haircut free, or run some ads, or post some content, and we try to teach them how, but the shop owner that they have doesn't allow them to do that. So you want to understand, hey, if I join this barbershop, what does my marketing freedom look like? Can I support the shop and get the shop busier? And also, if I want to, what type of promotion can I do just for myself as a barber? Because that's huge, because not everybody in the barbershop has the same ambition. So you want to make sure that you can act out whatever ambition that you have without necessarily having these bumps in the road later on. Now, another huge point that I have is actually my fourth point, and it's long-term goals. Whenever you're going to choose a barbershop, you want to make sure that they understand and you understand what are your long-term goals, and is this barbershop that you're about to join going to be a platform for that to help you get to those long-term goals? Because what I've seen in the mentorship a lot of times happen, it's happened to some amazing barbers unfortunately, is certain bumps in the road later on lead to dumps. Whether you dump the barbershop and you have to switch barbershops, or they end up dumping you and firing you out of nowhere because you had these bumps in the road. Now sometimes these bumps in the road happen because you weren't clear at the beginning that you had certain ambitions, such as maybe running ads or raising your prices or taking certain days off because maybe work-life balance, or one day wanting to actually open a barbershop. There was a story of some guy in the mentorship. Whenever the owners found out that he wanted to open his own barbershop, they fired him like that and they cut off all his access to his current clientele. So he had to start from practically zero, and he took, I think maybe a $12,000 a month loss because there was no other barbershop in the area that would take him, right? Because rumors started spreading and all this crazy stuff. But that was because he probably wasn't clear in the beginning. So you want to make sure that you're very upfront with some of the goals that you have and ambitions and desires that you have to make sure that they're cool with it so that you can have a long-term relationship, with that barbershop. So my next point is actually on proximity. So proximity, how far are you from the barbershop? Now this one really applies when it comes to if you're transferring barbershops. If you're moving from one barbershop to another, you want to be aware of how far that is because you want your clients to be able to actually transfer with you. That way you don't have to totally restart your business and lose all the momentum that you had. So for example, when I opened up this barbershop, I wanted it to be close to my previous one that I worked at so that all my clients can come with me. So I was able to move and take a jump into this next level of my career without having to completely restart my clientele. Now, one thing I also will say is don't be discouraged if you're a long ways from the barbershop. Like we have a barber that works here that actually lives 45 minutes from this shop, but he does it because, like I was saying before, it's in line with his long-term goals. Since working at this barbershop is in line with his long-term goals, he's willing to make the drive. So you wanna know, okay, if the barbershop is far, is this gonna be a part of my long-term goals? Or if the barbershop is far, does that affect it? Because not everybody can just go ahead and start their clientele from scratch. Some people have families and stuff like that, so you wanna be considerate. So you wanna know how far is it? Are my clients gonna be able to make this back and forth? Is it gonna be is it going to be aligned with my long-term goals to where I'm okay with doing this, right? But proximity is definitely a huge factor to take into account. This is a huge one. This is my 6th point, one of my special points. This one is, pricing freedom. Are you allowed? Are they okay with you raising your prices as you develop as a barber? Because eventually, this 30 one day could even turn into something like, like $70. And you wanna know how they feel about this, because if you're ambitious and you're growing your career, you're building your demand, you want them to be okay with you possibly having different prices than other barbers in the shop if you're able to build that demand for your service in your area. Sometimes certain barbershops, they don't wanna do that. They want everything to be uniform and they want every single barber to be at the same price. Or sometimes this happens as well where actual barbershop owners will force a price raise on you, where they want everything to be uniform and they wanna make more money cutting behind the chair. So they'll force a price raise on the whole barbershop, even though you may not be ready for it. And that might actually kill your business because you're raising your prices on your clientele before they're ready for it. And now that actually affects your momentum and your growth as a barber. Obviously, I agree with having structure as well. And that's a huge point when it comes to this, right? It's achieving a balance between structure and freedom. You want to operate within structure because it just helps things to be smoother and a lot more professional. But you also want the opportunity to grow and to not have a ceiling, to have some flexibility and some freedom as well. Those type of things, that's a balance that you're trying to understand when it comes to choosing a barbershop to work in. Now, I do agree in the area when it comes to pricing that if you're super unexperienced, you should not be at premium pricing. What I believe that's best off is when you start at market rate and then you build from there. So I do agree with operating at maybe shop prices at first, but then if you're able to build that demand in your area, that you can then jump to these other price increases as well, so you can continue to act out on those ambitions. Now, another reason why this is important is because you may want to get to the point where you don't have to work maybe 6 days or 7 days or 5 days a week in a barbershop. You may want to only work 4 days, 3 days, work the weekend, or whatever that is. You just want to know that, you know, if you were able to maybe raise your prices, that you could take that extra day off to spend with your family if you want to, and still make money and still provide for your family. That's why pricing freedom is such an important thing to keep in mind when it comes to choosing a barbershop to work in. Now, this is my last point. My 7th point is culture. Culture and shop environment. When you're going to pick a barbershop to work at, what is the culture and what is the shop environment? Because the shop environment is not just something that you're going to experience, but your clients are going to experience as well. And sometimes what somebody else is doing in their barber chair can affect you and your pockets. If people are cussing, talking about inappropriate things, smelling like weed, and the barbershop is super nasty and dirty, and people are yelling and arguing, almost getting into fights and stuff like that, your clients are not gonna feel comfortable coming inside of that barbershop. Your clients are not gonna feel comfortable going to you inside of that barbershop because they don't want to experience it. When you come into a barbershop, you are experiencing the barbershop. You're not just experiencing the haircut with your barber. So you wanna make sure that the culture, that the environment of the barbershop is in line with what you wanna do. If you wanna be a professional, you have to be in a shop that carries some level of professionality as well. Just because the shop looks great does not mean that it has great culture. There's so many barbers that actually work in shops that are beautiful, that are pristine, that have amazing floors, great chairs, great art on the wall, but the culture is horrible. And guys, what you don't want to do is you don't want to have to wake up every day to go into a shop that you don't want to go into, because that's going to affect how you actually serve your clients. Energy is infectious. So if you don't like going to work every day because the culture of your barbershop is trash, is not welcoming, doesn't push you to be the better version of yourself, or doesn't allow you to grow, or doesn't foster growth for you, your clients are gonna feel that. And that will affect your money long term. And that would just affect your growth as a person as well. And those are things that we wanna look at. Those are things that cannot be ignored. This might be a fluffy term for some people, but me, as I've developed through my career, culture is everything. Culture is so huge, because if the barbers are professional, if the barbers are growing, if the barbers are ambitious, if the barbers have a level that they hold themselves to, their clients are gonna see that, and the clients absolutely love it. Remember, we cannot focus too much about a dark spot in somebody's fade and totally ignore the fact that Bobby over there is cussing up a storm, and then the mom, Sandra, feels super uncomfortable in the waiting area bringing her kid in to get a haircut. Culture is everything. You want to experience the culture of a barbershop. Now, how do you find out the culture? Well, I can give you one tip right now, is actually go and get a haircut. Just get a haircut in the barbershop and see how they treat people. See how your barber treats you, see how the other barbers are acting, see if they greet you whenever they come in, do they offer to book you an appointment after, like whatever it is, just go and experience the culture as a client. Because if you wouldn't like going into that barbershop as a client, you might not want to work there as a barber. Guys, we went over the 7 things that are extremely important to look at when it comes to choosing a barbershop to work in. And I'll leave you with this last thing. We describe a barbershop almost like a ship, and we want to find the best ship in our area that we can. Maybe we won't be able to check every single box, but the more check boxes that we can hit, the better situation that we'll be in. And it's really, really hard to row along in a ship when other people aren't rowing in the same direction. When there's certain holes in the boat, it's harder to get to where we want to go to. A barbershop can be a great platform to grow you into the person, the barber, and have the career that you want to have, or it could be the same thing that's slowing you down. And that's why you can't just pick any shop just because they got some cool floors and some cool chairs. You want to pick a shop, and you want to know that you're making a good decision from inside and out. In my past 2 years and 10 months of licensed barber experience, making over $470,000, these are the main 7 takeaways that I have for you guys in terms of choosing the best barbershop to work in. Leave a comment down below on what you thought about this video, and I'll check you guys out in the next one. Peace!